Hey there, good morning. It is 7 a.m. Hey, hello, good morning. John Henry Soto here. Happy Valentine's Day yesterday to everyone. Hope you all had a blessed day with the ones that you love and enjoying another day of tons of chocolates and flowers. Flowers I like. The chocolate, I think it's a scam. I get into it with my wife on these things. So I'm like, come on. So how did that? I mean, I get it, sweets for your sweets, but I mean, the chocolate industry relies on this day. It's actually part of their economy. They need it to survive. So it's really something how they've tied into this. But again, I'm not going to go into that because you know it's been hard enough trying to be married for almost 20 years now. So I gotta take a loss, or at least I gotta just shut the hell up on some things. Anyway, good morning, everyone. I know today is President's Day, so a lot of people are still sleeping. They're home. They have the day off. So, but I'm here nevertheless because I like to keep the schedule going, regardless of what the planet says is happening. Um, but happy President's Day to everyone out there, and I hope you're enjoying your president. I think everybody has different presidents, right? I love that line. Not my president. I'm like, shut up. Everybody's your president. He's your president. Biden is the president, right? That's what we've been told. So that's the case. But this is not a political show. I do have one, but this is not one. All right. So um, I'm on number 20 of 21 precepts for the way to happiness. I've had a wonderful time doing this. I really appreciate anybody who's tuned in and who's enjoyed these precepts and these bits of wisdom. It's been a joy for me to bring them to you. I really appreciate that opportunity. The book is called The Way to Happiness by L. Ron Hubbard, written in 1981, and it has 21 precepts, and it's basically a common sense guide to better living. Um, and This is number 20 right now, and I'm going to read this one too. This is a really long one, so I can't read the whole thing. I'm going to actually just read sections of it. Again, if you're interested in this book for yourself, I do have these little booklets. See if you can see them. See these little tiny booklets here, and they are the exact same information that's in the big book that I'm reading out of. And it's really, really a great little book that you can carry around. You can give it to somebody, and I'm giving them away free of charge. All you have to do is you have to send me an email, and I'll flash the email up here. It is John Henry Soto at protonmail.com, and I will message you, and then we'll exchange your information, and I will mail this out to you ASAP. I just got a new stack because I ran out, but a new stack just arrived on Saturday, so I have a fresh new batch to give out to anyone that's interested. So, okay, so let's continue here. Number 20. It says, try to treat others as you would want them to treat you. All right, it's number 20. All right, so let's continue here. Let me click on that. All right. This is a positive version of the golden rule. Don't be surprised if someone seems to resent being told to be good. But the resentment may not come at all at the idea of being good. It may be because the person factually has misunderstanding of what it means. One can get into a lot of conflicting opinions and confusions about what good behavior might be. One might never have grasped, even if the teacher did, what he or she was given the grade received for conduct. One might even have been given or assumed false data concerning it. Children should be seen and not heard. Being good means being inactive. Those are all lies, right? False data, false information. However, there is a way to clear it all up to one's complete satisfaction. All right. So, in all times and in most places, mankind to the has looked up and revered certain values. They are called the virtues. They have been attributed to wise men, holy men, saints, and gods. They have made the difference between a barbarian and a cultured person, the difference between chaos and a decent society. It doesn't absolutely require a heavenly mandate, nor a tedious search through the thick tomes of the philosophers to discover what good is. A self revelation can occur on the subject. It can be worked out by almost any person. If one were to think over how he or she would like to be treated by others, one would evolve the human virtues. Just figure out how you would want people to treat you. You would possibly, first of all, want to be treated justly. You wouldn't want people lying about you or falsely or harshly condemning you, right? You would probably want your friends and companions to be loyal. You would not want them to betray you. You could want to be treated with good sportsmanship, not hoodwinked or tricked. You would want people to be fair in their dealings with you. You would want them to be honest with you and not cheat you, correct? You might want to be treated kindly and without cruelty. You would possibly want people to be considerate of your rights and feelings. When you were down, you might want others to be compassionate. Instead of blasting you, you would probably want others to exhibit self control, right? If you had any defects or shortcomings, if you made a mistake, you might want people to be tolerant, not critical, rather than concentrating on censor and punishment. You would prefer people be or forgiving, correct? You might want people to be benevolent towards you and not mean or stingy. Your possible desire would be for others to believe in you, not doubt you at every hand. You would probably prefer to be given respect, not insulted. Possibly, you would want others to be polite to you and also treat you with dignity, right? You might want people, give you that again. You might like people to admire you. When you did something for them, could you would possibly like people to appreciate you, correct? You would probably like others to be friendly towards you. For some, for some, you might want love. And above all, you wouldn't want these people just pretending these things. You would want them to be quite real in their attitudes and be acting with integrity. You could possibly think others. You could possibly think of others, and there are the precepts contained in this book. But above, um, I'll give you that again. You could possibly think of others, and there are precepts contained in this book. But above, you would want, you would have worked out the summary of what they are called virtues. All right, this is very long. Okay, so let me read this one little section here. This is a good one. One can influence the conduct of others around him. If one is not like that already, it can be made much easier by just picking one virtue a day and specializing in it for that day. Doing that, they would all eventually be in. Aside from personal benefit, one can take a hand, no matter how small, in the beginning, a new era for human relations. The pebble dropped in a pool can make a ripple to the furthest shore. The way to happiness is made much brighter by applying the precept, trying to treat others as you would want them to treat you. All right. And that is number 20, which is treat others as you would want them to treat you. And that is very important. I think in today's society, sometimes we, especially with the censorship, he mentioned censoring a little bit, censor culture, I guess they call it now. 7 a.m. wake up call. That's right. That's right, Ethan. Absolutely. So I think with the whole censoring thing, I've been censored quite a bit online for my views, whether they be, anything political or spiritual or whatever. And it's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, you're on a, a platform where there's a lot of people exchanging views and ideas. So for you to be isolated or picked out means that there is an agenda, that there is something that they're not interested in letting people uh, be able to explore for themselves and to be able to be wise enough to look at something and be like, I can look at that and not get triggered or whatever word that's the word of the day. Um, and it just seems like we're in a society of very weak-minded people right now, where they're not able, or the powers that be feel that the people are just not really ready to listen to anything or to have any ideas of, and that they're going to get triggered, and it's dangerous to have words spoken that might upset some people. And I start thinking about I start thinking about our history and 100 years ago and 200 years ago, or 150 years ago, and we had the Civil War going on for years, brother against brother and state against state, trying to fight and the bloodiest war in the history of our nation. And some of these were young kids that were out there fighting, had to fight for their land, basically, and for their families. And you start thinking about the 1929, the stock market crashed, and standing on breadlines and trying to support your family when there was no work, and the struggling that went on there, the hunger that went on there, the children starving, the fight that they had to do. You move up to the wars, our two big major wars, World War One and Two, and the young men and women that had to drop everything to go and protect your land, or to protect to fight evil, right? These are all young people. Remember, that's why I'm talking about young people here, right? And you talk about the 60s, right? You talk about the 60s and the Vietnam War, and all these young people that had 18 years old. Some of them enlisted on their own. Some of them were drafted, right? You had to go. You had to go to war, whether you liked it or not, right? And here we are now in modern times, where you can't say something that might not offend a college student. They'll go protesting, or they'll go crying in their, because they've just been so, I don't know if things have gotten just so good for us that now we're allowing weak-mindedness in our youth. I make sure, I have two kids, so I make sure that I raise my children knowing that, one, the world can suck sometimes. People can suck sometimes. They will do things that are not nice, and it's our responsibility to be able to, be able to experience anything, you know, and be able to not experience things that others cannot um, experience easily, right? So that is, be able to accept anything, and then don't do things that others are going to get pissed off about, right? Um, and I want to make sure that they understand that the world is not the world is going to say things. People out there are going to say things, and it's their right to say it. So, I don't want my kids to be like, mom, dad, somebody said that racism doesn't exist. you know, and I don't want that. I want them to look and say, like, well, yeah, racism does exist. It is an actual thing. People are racist in the world. And still, even to me, even to my children, who look white, but there is still racism. I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, and I've experienced racism, so I know that it exists. It's not systematic the way it's being told, but I want them to understand that it does exist, and I want people to uh, to be able to experience that. I mean, my family. Um, and I want them to be strong minded, strong willed. I want them to be able to carry themselves in such a manner that others are would never even go to them to try to bring them down, or to try to make them feel bad, or to try to change their viewpoints on something that they have very strong convictions on. And that to me is an important element of how to raise children. You start pushing your child to do things that, pushing them to education, pushing them to school. You gotta go to a good school. You gotta go to a good school. Okay. Gotta become a worker, a little worker bee. If they don't want to go to college, if they don't want to go to school, that's fine. But when you start pushing them young, when they get older and they're old enough to be like, nah, I'm not doing that, then they're gonna really disappoint you, and then you're gonna be out there thinking like, well, what happened? We're the education family, and yet there you are sitting with a child that's not interested in education. How about that? Um, there is something for trade schools. Remember trade schools? We had shop in school. We have all these other wonderful programs, and they might still have them at some places, but I know it's not really pushed hard. But we need people to do certain things, and they might be interested in shop. We need plumbers. We need electricians. We need carpenters. We need people to do things with their hands, to build things. And not everyone has to go to college and learn how to do business marketing, because it's useless, especially what they teach in college with business marketing. Usually is not even applied to like the world of finance, or the world of business. You're basically coming out of college without any experience on what the world is really like. I don't know why I'm going into all this. But anyway, I guess it was basically, you treat others how you want to be treated yourself. And if you force people to be a certain way, they're going to resent you. They have to find it for themselves. It has to be real to them. And how you do that is by education on certain virtues. And you can learn these virtues either by reading books. You can teach them to your children. You can learn by going to your local church, being part of your local whatever organization you're part of. School really doesn't teach these things. School doesn't teach how to even how to balance a checkbook, right? How to apply for a house, a loan for a house. They don't teach you how to budget your bills. These are things that you can really instill in a child, that they will grow up to really be able to emotionally take care of themselves, right? Because this is what's happening today. A lot of these young kids are treating other kids so poorly that the bullying thing became this huge giant issue, right? Kids being bullied, well, kids always. I mean, look, I'm a short Puerto Rican from the South Bronx. You think I wasn't bullied? I was bullied. I was picked on. I was made fun of. And I knew at the time, well, this was part of the game. I mean, I just became as witty as I could possibly, and find whatever flaw that person has, and then just fight back and hit that flaw. And because I'm kind of witty and kind of funny, I did pretty good for myself. I did pretty good, I gotta say. But and that just kind of made me hold my position, and people then saw, oh, there's little Johnny. I'm not gonna say anything because he's gonna make fun of my big head, or whatever. So and that was growing up tough. Today is just so sad. I see all these videos that are posted up of these poor college kids and their arguments and they're so it's just so weak, and they're just not treating each other well, and this is why it's been, I mean, it's been such a tragedy to watch, and I'm hoping that that's changing. I think a lot of people have been waking up in the last few years, especially the last 6 months. People have really been seeing things, and there's millions and millions and millions of people that are out there, um, trying to change the narrative and to give us a little bit of freedom to not be to be able to communicate freely. Certain sites won't let you communicate freely, which is sad, but it's just the way it is. It is their platform; they can do whatever they want. So I go on there and I just put out candy, sweet candy for the sheep, sweet meals so they can actually just laugh and go, I feel so much better now because I was told something so pleasant. I'm not triggered at all right at the moment. I'm actually quite pleasant with that information that I just received. Thank you, John. Thank you, John Henry Soto, for that. So that's the kind of stuff I put out right now, and hopefully, it's just easy for me. It's much easier for me, and I go to other platforms. I'm on like 15 platforms that I constantly live stream to. So I'm doing 8 of them right now, live at this stage, and I have a bunch of others that I do where I actually work for money, where I get paid to stream on a couple of platforms with an agency. So um, for me, there's a lot of places to be able to get your word out and to be able to communicate freely, and there's some places that they don't allow you, and then it's fine. From there, that's where you give them little candies, little starbursts, and have them just go on their way. You get your message out in pleasant ways and positive ways, and that's that. That's that. All right, folks. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Happy Monday. Hope you're all having a nice day off out there. Thank you for everyone for watching. Appreciate you. Tomorrow is the precept number 21, and it is the last one, which is what I find the most important one: flourish and prosper. And I got a lot to say about flourishing and prospering. Let me see if this is a short one or a long one. Let me see. Okay, this one is kind of. I know it's actually not long at all. This is actually just a few pages. I'll read that one for tomorrow. And I have a lot to say on flourishing and prosper, which has a lot to do with a little bit of what I touched upon today. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:30. It'll be the last one on the series of this book, The Way to Happiness. And I will figure out what I'm going to do next here at 7 a.m. But I do appreciate everybody for tuning in, and take care of yourselves. And I will see you tomorrow morning. And as always, peace.